The sanctuary of Delphi is probably the most extraordinary of all ancient Greek sites. Delphi amazes all who visit it. This place is the center of the world. The ancient Greeks called it the omphalos, which means the navel of the earth. Zeus, the father of the gods, wanted to find the center of the universe, so he sent two eagles flying from the opposite ends of the universe. And the place where they met was Delphi.
Welcome to Delphi, Indiana, where our storied past is fueling a stellar future.
Whenever and wherever human beings endure suffering and humiliation, sometimes we must interfere. When human lives are in danger, when human dignity is in jeopardy, wherever men or women are persecuted, that place must, at that moment, become the center of the universe.
I'm going to go on the record right now and say that they are trying to kill Rick Allen.
Yeah.
They want him to die.
Yeah.
It's like always like in and out, in and out. They don't want him. They don't want us to see
Because
it.
he's my size. Chains and collars and leashes all over.
It's all about optics. We don't have all of those people around Rick Allen because they want to keep everybody else safe. They don't want us to see Rick Allen. They don't want us to look at Rick Allen. They don't want us to see his face and his eyes. Remember when he came in June and he was all doped up and he was dissociative and he was experiencing psychosis from being tortured and starved and sleep deprived and probably withheld his medication. All of these things that they were doing to him so that he would show up looking like a zombie and couldn't protest or assist in his defense. Guess what? The eyes of the world are on them. They're not allowed to do that to him anymore, and they have tried to break him. And Rick Allen, he's not going to break. Look he has done a year in solitary confinement. A year.
He's on the upside of things. Like if he's still alive, he's getting better every day.
His attorneys get thrown off the case, and he turns to his wife and he says, "It's okay. You didn't break him. You're not going to break him. He's not guilty. Whatever they're trying to do, you're hip to it. It is not going to happen."
The only real substantive thing that Ms. Auger brought up in the cross-examination is this concept of interpolation. And these programs that he was using for this audio enhancement, they use interpolation. And so what that is it's a process where they have known information and they use that to extrapolate, like predict what is not there, but what would be there. And so that's part of how the enhancement helps improve the quality, is by essentially guessing what should be there in a better quality information. So he said you use that specifically in the resizing, the software, like the resizing of the images. And so the software gives him a few different choices for interpolation. So basically she elicited that when he is going through and producing that bridge guy, because bridge guy is tiny, he's tiny in the video, and they wanted that, full screen capture of him, that isolation of him, focused in on him. That's part of why it's such poor quality. It's like pixelated almost. But it used an interpolation process to be able to produce that when they resized it into the full size. So it guessed how to fill in some of the detail of what bridge guy looked like. That they didn't hammer it home solid at this point. It came out a little bit technical, but that is really important. And so it's something that I hope they make a note to focus on in closing. Make sure that they mention that.
Do you have any idea what their defense is going to be, given the fact that the judge has basically taken away their defense?
Am I the only person in the world talking about attacking the timeline, attacking the timeline, attacking the timeline, attacking the timeline?
Do you have any idea what their defense is going to be, given the fact that the judge has basically taken away their defense?
Taken away their defense.
Like, am I in crazy? 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 Like, am I in crazy?
Challenge the timeline of the murders.
Talking about attacking the timeline.
What's the strategy today?
Winning.
Winning.
Whose motherfucking hair is that?
What's the strategy today?
Winning.
Winning.
The consensus has been challenge the timeline of the murders. Challenge the timeline of the murders.
What's up, everybody? This is the only electronic beat I listen to, says Ems. Good morning. I got 7 hours of sleep. Did everybody else sleep? Andrea is in the courtroom, everybody. I got a message this morning. I don't know who this person is, and I don't want to out them, but somebody was very gracious and helped us get our Andrea in this morning, so she is inside. So we can all breathe a little bit easier, knowing that we will get a very good historical record of what goes down this morning in the courtroom. Let me say hello to everybody. Woman, hello, woman doing a shadow ban. DB says, personally, as an AI guy myself, I think AI suspects are fine. We support that, DB. Who needs sleep when you can listen to Delphi pods all night, meme and rage tweet? Not us. Hi, Precocent. Hello, Steve. Good morning. Good to see you. Hello, my love. Ems. Good morning, great people. Hi, Lilu. Mrs. Legs. Hi, Ashley. Shell, good to see you. I'm glad that these are helping. We are in this together. Hi, Kira. Kira was our hero this morning and sent me a document that was just filed that we are going to talk about in a minute. I think today we are going to be hearing from the medical examiner, pathologist, Dr. Roland Kaur, if I'm not mistaken. Okay, so we have notes. We have Andrea's live transcribed and linked. I recommend everybody listen to it. It was very helpful last night. We learned some shit, y'all. We learned some stuff yesterday, and I don't know how I feel. I don't know how I feel. I don't feel great about what we learned. That's for sure. This is our trial notes folder. We are in week 2. And here is Andrea Burkhart from last night. If y'all are interested, you can check it out here. Your real life machinist. Masochist? Machinist. A machinist or masochist? Or both. Good morning, Jancy. Hi, Aries. Hi, Aaron. Hot Pocket. Elizabeth. We're cat. Libertarian. Anna testified on day 1. And I heard the news reporting that hi, Angela. I didn't know if he was guilty. I wanted to see all the evidence. There is no evidence. It's all been fabricated. The video and voice enhanced. All the interviews lost. They ruined his life. That pretty much sums it up. I feel deceived by a whole shit show. The jurors have got to see it for what it is. I feel very encouraged by the jurors. They're asking great questions. I was happy when they arrested him, but as the time passed, I doubted they have the right guy. Now that this trial, please, I feel cheated. There's no evidence so far. I feel that. I feel that. Keen, I made it. I'm here. You can definitely, we can talk about odinism this morning, though. Oops. I keep knocking my camera out of focus. I get too excited. Okay. Captain America, Elena, Shane. Yeah, people, it happens, man. Hey, Rex. Hi, Spunkies, Dad, Misty. Yep, not one witness identified. Actually, the mainstream media is also reporting that now, finally, that not one person has identified Rick Allen as being the man they saw that day. This is also a good question. I'd like to know where's proof of life. I'd like to know this too. Hi, Tracy. Hi, Brian. Hey, Hunter. Good to see you. Welcome back. Hello, Hoosier. Hello, Gravital Punishment. Hello, Rebecca Ann. Attack the timeline, right? Hunter's getting it. Hi, Aaron. Hi, Sweet Lou. Hunter is back. How you feeling, Hunter? Let's see. Frank's 5. We are back, baby. Hello, Chris. Hunter did a crazy. Pretty sure Nick killed his own timeline. I murdered her. Hey, Torsel. Hi, Just Deb. There's a timeline? You could have fooled me. Hey, Tar Heel. Hi, Judy. Good to see you. Hammy! Hi, Hammy. I hope you're feeling good this morning. Hey, Gabby. It is AI. It's exactly what it is. DB is working on something for us to help explain it a little bit. But yeah. Hey, Carrie. I got your email. I still have to respond, but I did get it. And I want to do a members only live later this week. I was thinking maybe Saturday night, since Sunday is an off day. Maybe Sunday night, but I will let y'all know. Hi, Veronica. Hello, Riva. Hello, Say What. I'm going to scroll ahead a little bit. Hi, Bill. Hi, Emmy. Hi, Budrich. I think Dr. Walla will be testifying. Yes, they did request her attendance, and I believe Judge Gold did certify that request. Hey, Dr. NB. Hi, Maria. Dead Flowers. That's my favorite Rolling Stones song. I don't know if y'all know it, but you should. Hey, KO. Charmaine, I like that name. I hope the local public relying on Andrea and her notes do the courtesy of ensuring she gets in on a daily basis. She did. She did get in today. Trail cams, All Eyes was talking about it. Yes, the trail cams were not collected. Crazy. Have you tried a YouTube ad on Chrome that transcribes the videos automatically? No, that's a great idea, though. I have an app that is decent, but it does require me to download the videos. So, Ems, if you want to, maybe we can play with that later. Rick saying Matt Sullivan had a great live last night. I didn't even know that. I missed it. I will definitely check that out. Hey, Sham. Welcome back. Franks. Are we back in the Franks biz? I can't wait to read this motion. I'm going to go forward a little bit, y'all. If I miss you, I'm so sorry. Hey, Jill. Hey, Cassandra. Hi, Kelly. Hi, Joe. All right. That's your favorite Stones song? Why does this not surprise me? Ems and I are literal soulmates. And when this is all over, Ems, and I hope all of us can just, basically, we can all just run away together and forget all of our troubles and forget about all of this. Welcome, Lilu, a new member. Good to have you. You're gathered here today to find out. Can Rick just go home with Kathy already? For fuck's sake. I love you, Mandy. Yes, this is great to know, Ems. Sunflower. Greeno's warrant has been reissued. Ooh, well, sucks to sucks. All right, Lilu. So let's start out first with this new motion. Wild Horses is great too. We got Eyes on the Ground. I don't know if Gull signed it, but if she's all about. If Gull is all about safety, the safety of the jury and the safety of the It's a great point too. Where's home? They sold their home. So if Judge Gull is all about safety of the jurors, safety of the defendant, safety of everybody, the integrity of the proceedings, then yeah, I'm glad that she maybe took action to ensure that a dangerous, violent felon who had made death threats recently against a defendant was not allowed in the courtroom. Carroll County law enforcement, y'all are useless. Is anyone surprised to learn that? We got a Frank's 5, baby. Not actually titled Frank's 5, but that's what I'm going to call it. Hi, Source. I love you. Headed to work, but will be listening. What do you mean the fam had Libby's phone at her funeral and took a pic? We gonna get into that. I got a lot of questions about that, too. Man. Cassandra says, I've made a mental note to stay away from Indiana. Love that. This is funny. Yeah, I agree, too. There's no way they can just stay there if he's acquitted. I can't imagine. I don't know. All right, y'all. Motion to admit evidence of odinism, Norse paganism, and ritualistic killing filed by Richard Allen's defense attorneys. Deb Lowe, if you're watching, I love you, and I'll answer your question in a minute. Everyone put a 1 in the chat if you love and adore and appreciate Deb Lowe, and if you can't wait until the triumphant return of Deb Lowe in all her glory when all this is behind us. Put a 1 in the chat. Put a 1 in the chat for Deb Lowe. And I will text you back soon. Comes now the accused, Richard Allen. Look at all this love. Deb Lowe has fans all over the world. That's not even an exaggeration. Look at all of this. Deb Lowe is the reason that we know anything. Justice for Deb Lowe and her true reporting. These are the most ones I've seen. Deb Lowe just got more ones than DB. We love Deb. We miss her and we appreciate her. All right. Comes now the accused, Richard Allen, by and through counsel, and moves this court to admit certain evidence that this court thus far has prevented defense from presenting to the jury pursuant to its September 4th order. In support of said motion, the defense states the following. Y'all open the door on Tuesday, October 22nd, 2024. Crime scene investigator Brian Olay testified concerning various aspects of the crime scene. During his testimony, crime scene investigator Olay indicated that the sticks covering the girls was an attempt by the killer to conceal the bodies. On September 18th, 2023, the defense filed its first Frank's memo, in which the defense laid out in painstaking detail the various pieces of evidence that provide support for the theory that the crime scene contained various signatures related to odinism and Norse paganism. On August 1st, 2024, the defense provided the testimony of Dr. Dawn Perlmutter to the court. Dr. Perlmutter provided her resume and testimony at said hearing. Dr. Perlmutter's experience included, among other things, training the FBI and other local, state, and federal law enforcement agencies concerning how to identify a ritualistic crime scene and literally writing the book on ritualistic crime scene identification used by local, state, and federal law enforcement. After reviewing the crime scene photographs and other reports and documentation, Dr. Perlmutter's testimony included her assessment that the sticks on the bodies, F-tree, and other aspects of the crime scene were textbook signs of a ritualistic murder related to odinism, Norse paganism, including sticks and blood on the tree to form runes and bind runes. Dr. Perlmutter's belief did not come out of left field as law enforcement began investigating the Odinist and Norse paganism angle as early as 2 days after the girls were found. Law enforcement continued investigating the Odin Norse paganism angle until the death of law enforcement officer Greg Ferenczi in 2021. Hello, Cop Facts. It's so good to see you. Cop Facts has been questioning the authenticity and integrity of the images that have been shown. Speaks to his experience. If you are not subscribed to Cop Facts channel, go do so. We love Cop Facts. He's the best. Colorado. Okay. Until the death of Officer Greg Ferenczi, RIP, Greg Ferenczi, you would be livid today. The state of Indiana has provided its explanation of what the sticks represent, concealment of the bodies. And Richard Allen has a Sixth Amendment right to offer the jury his alternative theory as to the reasons the sticks are aligned and arranged in the manner in which they are arranged. Denial of this opportunity to present to the jury all alternative explanations would leave the jury with only one explanation, the explanation provided by the state of Indiana. 10. Additionally, the sticks on the girls appear to be arranged in a pattern and arrangement, or at minimum, using a person's own eyeballs, common sense, logic, and reason could cause a reasonable person to believe that the sticks were formed into some pattern or arrangement and were not being used to conceal the bodies. Can I read y'all what Deb says just in response to all of the support really quick? I miss reporting the truth very much. Thank you to everyone for the support. Of course, reporting the truth is why I've not been offered. Reporting the truth is why I've not been offered to report on the local happenings right now. So we know this. We respect and appreciate Deb Lowe's dedication to the truth. We will hear more from Deb soon. We love Deb. Love you, Deb. Therefore, it could or would be confusing to a juror who might think that the arrangement of sticks was intentionally placed in a certain arrangement on the bodies, but then those jurors are not being provided with any explanation for the way the sticks are placed on the bodies in a certain arrangement. Evidence of Norse paganism and odinism would therefore assist the trier of fact and alleviate confusion for jurors. Wow. Additionally, it has been learned at the August 1st, 2024 hearing that the blood found on the F tree resulted in the state of Indiana retaining a blood spatter expert more than 7 years after the murders. Dr. Perlmutter's testimony would be offered in part to counter the testimony of the state's blood spatter expert, and the accused has a Sixth Amendment right to counter their blood spatter expert's testimony. Being able to provide evidence to the jury that odinism and Norse paganism as an alternative explanation of the sticks arrangement on the girls' bodies, including the testimony of Dr. Perlmutter, would offer the following. A rebuttal to the state of Indiana's explanation of why the sticks appear the way they appear, consistent with the 6th and 14th Amendments of the United States Constitution. B, a rebuttal as to the state of Indiana's blood spatter expert. C, an alternative explanation to any confused juror who believes the sticks and blood on the tree weren't used for concealing the bodies, but rather believes that they were arranged by a Norse paganist odinist as part of a ritual. 15, the defense files this motion currently in part for purposes of a ruling in anticipation of the need to contact our witnesses in the event that the court reverses his ruling. There you go. There you have it. Get out of here. We love Debbie. Everyone hit the like button, or else you get clapped by DB himself. Yeah, and they also testified that during the hearing that 3% of the girls' bodies were covered. 3%. It's very interesting. I thought Andrea's live was very interesting. One of the most interesting things to me about her live was the use of interpolation, which is a word I didn't know until I looked it up, and Andrea explained it very well. But the reason that the bridge guy figure is not visible in the original raw version of the video off of Libby's phone, and the reason that his voice and his words are not audible and understandable in the video is because they weren't in the video originally, at least not in the form that we have them now. So the forensics, what was his name? Mr. Ole testified that, I think it was it might have been, maybe it was Bunner. I'm getting the names all confused, so don't quote me on any of this. This is not true, Hunter. Hey, Hunter, remember in the beginning of the opening, Andy Baldwin said, just wait. Let's just wait and see. Because so far the state's about 0 for 10 as to their claims. So let's just see what he really said to the conservation officer. Maybe we'll hear from the conservation officer himself. That would be good. Fox 59 trying to do a mini stroke upon me. So basically, Andrea is inside. I'm not sure about Lawyer Lee this morning, but she is inside. Interpolation was big in the Rittenhouse trial. The judge there did not allow zoomed in evidence. Yeah, so interpolation is basically filling in information void. So as Andrea stated, it's basically guessing. It's using like AI technology to fill in missing pieces. Hey, David. Everybody's very frustrated. I am too. The other thing we learned is that one of the young girl witnesses that the state used in their probable cause affidavit to arrest Richard Allen, upon which basically their entire timeline was created, is now saying that she saw Bridge Guy at 2:15 by the Freedom Bridge, which is a problem because that means that, according to the state, Richard Allen was in two places at once. So that's great. Good. Off to a really good start. Donnie tweeted, "Guess who's back?" with a picture of the filing. I believe that they'll probably finish up with any crime scene investigators. And then I do believe I heard, maybe it was Bob, I don't know who it was. We don't have a witness list because they're still bogarting the witness list. But I believe we might hear from the medical examiner today, Dr. Kaur, the pathologist. I don't know if I should be using those interchangeably. Hunter, did you see him? Because none of the witnesses thus far have said that they saw Richard Allen. So it's confusing as to why people are clinging so tightly to this. I'm wondering if things will...
Video frame interpolation typically involves two steps: motion estimation and pixel synthesis, such a two-step. Approach heavily depends on the quality of motion. Estimation, specifically, our method considers. Pixel synthesis for the interpolated frame is local. Convolution over two input frames.
Items 1, 2, and 3 are actual images taken by the phone during the recording process. As you can see here, there's 5 total frames, 3 original frames, and 2 interpolated frames. The original frames are pink, and the interpolated frames are purple. What does this look like in real time? Well, a short video of a horse running. This is not meant to be played as a loop, but I'm just going to play it 5 times in a row. Now here it is in slow motion, and you can see when you look at the legs, there is some motion interpolation. Why is this an issue? Because this isn't good enough for a criminal trial.
Video frame interpolation. Video frame interpolation typically involves two steps: motion estimation and pixel synthesis, such a two-step. Approach heavily depends on the quality of motion. Estimation, specifically, our method considers. Pixel synthesis for the interpolated frame is local. Convolution over two input frames.
Items 1, 2, and 3 are actual images taken by the phone during the recording process. As you can see here, there's 5 total frames, 3 original frames, and 2 interpolated frames. The original frames are pink, and the interpolated frames are purple. What does this look like in real time? Well, a short video of a horse running. This is not meant to be played as a loop, but I'm just going to play it 5 times in a row. Now here it is in slow motion, and you can see when you look at the legs, there is some motion interpolation. Why is this an issue? Because this isn't good enough for a criminal trial.
Was that helpful for everybody? That was very helpful for me, especially the fucking horse. Actually,
Frame interpolation.
So
Items 1.
I want to watch this part again, yeah.
Items 1, 2, and 3 are actual images taken by the phone during the recording process. As you can see here, there's 5 total frames, 3 original frames, and 2 interpolated frames. The original frames are pink and the interpolated frames are purple. What does this look like in real time? Well, a short video of a horse running. This is not meant to be played as a loop, but I'm just going to play it 5 times in a row. Now here it is in slow motion. And you can see when you look at the legs, there is some motion interpolation. Why is this an issue? Because this isn't good enough for a criminal trial.
So that was helpful for me. Sorry, hold on. Okay. So basically, woman says, y'all are so beautiful and patient, it rubs off on me. Likewise. I have a real problem with this. If interpolation, basically filling in the gaps, DP found that helpful. Hi, Sleuthy. I didn't know you were live. Sleuthy, you want to watch this again? Let's play it one more time, everybody.
Video frame interpolation. Video frame interpolation typically involves 2 steps: motion estimation and pixel synthesis, such a 2-step. Approach heavily depends on the quality of motion. Estimation, specifically, our method considers pixel synthesis for the interpolated frame as local. Convolution over 2 input frames.
Items 1, 2, and 3 are actual images taken by the phone during the recording process. As you can see here, there's 5 total frames, 3 original frames, and 2 interpolated frames. The original frames are pink and the interpolated frames are purple. What does this look like in real time? Well, a short video of a horse running. This is not meant to be played as a loop, but I'm just going to play it 5 times in a row. Now here it is in slow motion. And you can see when you look at the legs, there is some motion interpolation. Why is this an issue? Because this isn't good enough for a criminal trial.
You still in here, Sleuthy Goosey? Beetle Goose? Why did they admit the enhanced video before Gull even ruled on it? One of my favorite channels and friend. Much love to this awesome channel. We love Kokomo. One day we will meet. I have so many friends in here I want to meet one day. Can you control the video? Yes, I can. Yes.
For a criminal trial.
Interpolate.
I can control the video, yes. Hammy says, here's the thing about what you're suggesting. Rewinding. Oh, I just played it again, but that's okay. I want to see the real video so bad. Thought about them using a CNN on the frame for a while. Hey, Ange, pretty much stalking after seeing you on Andrew's live, we got all the jury questions. Here is our jury question document. If somebody has a jury question, I'm used to talking, that is not on here that they want to add, we must add it. It's okay. Request access, let me know. But if you see a jury question that I missed, because I probably did, please let me know. We don't. So Andrea said as of yesterday, there was no ruling on that motion. Nick just went ahead and asked the CSI guy, what is it that you think you hear? And he answered. That sucks. Yeah, it's great that people are taking such good notes for sure. How is it possible for him to get there in a few seconds? So this is the deep fake that Nick was talking about in his motion to prohibit broadcasting of the proceedings. So we've got deep fakes. He used a portal to transport himself from the Freedom Bridge to the Monon High Bridge in 2 minutes. It can be possible that this AI video interpolation interpreted Bridge Guy's poofy brownish hair to be a head cover. Could be. It could be. It could also be that it interpolated his voice, because she also, I mean, that's also what they did for his voice analysis. Enhancement. I take issue with them referring to it as enhancement, though, because it's not really enhancement. It's interpolated. It's adding. Yeah, it's kind of manipulating. It's really adding frames and things that are not there. Oh, Criminal Network, I didn't even recognize you. Hey, my ex-girlfriend had deepfake. Oh, God. They didn't enhance everything either. Yeah, I wanted to show. I'm just really glad that the mainstream media decided to leave this part of the trial out and blast the, quote, confession note. Yeah, the recreated. You can hear one of the girls on the original audio, right? My partner's a Grammy-winning engineer. He said there were tons of shit added into the audio. He also said a lot of other technical things. I believe that. Yeah, people that know, you know, audio, visual engineering. I mean, there's people that have a lot of knowledge about these things that I certainly don't. And they've said there's something sketchy. There's something off about this video. And he didn't mention that it was enhanced or interpolated until OJ kind of brought it up. And I'm hoping and assuming that this will come up in when the defense, you know, presents their case. But regardless, I have a problem with it. I got a problem with a lot of this stuff. Can y'all tell? Y'all noticed? I wonder if like, yeah, I was wondering why she didn't object. Ajay didn't object to Nick's line of questioning. Certainly, they could have predicted that he would try that. Yeah, and then there was a lot of shit with the cell phone yesterday in Andrea's live, like the fact that they were going through the cell phone. They didn't they didn't put it on airplane mode or thing. They went through the physical phone. I'm not going to try and explain it right now. I have a better explanation share in a little bit. But I know most people probably caught some of her live yesterday. What I like about Andrea, she explains really technical shit in very easy to understand terms. I can't articulate why, waiting for that XR to gain, but I think it's significant that the FBI offers a video download and audio download separately. Yeah, on their website. I mean, precocent. What is this? Maybe can you put that in a DM for me so I can click it? This is a witness list, y'all. So far, I guess. Thank you, sir. Let's see. Be right back, y'all. All right, sorry, y'all. This is the witness list so far that just of like confirmed witnesses that we know have testified or will likely be testifying based on what has been shared by people that have heard the lists. The fuck is Dr. G? Oh, I can't stand Dr. G. Why did he put something out? I imagine the defense will tear that video apart. I mean, they've got how many witnesses? I don't think that the defense. Oh, he debunked it. Yeah, Dr. G knows nothing about odinism. Nothing. He's a YouTube psychologist, much like Hidden True Crime is a YouTube psychologist. He knows nothing about odinism. He debunked odinism before he even probably read the whole Frank's memo. I watched that video. It's a fucking joke. Yeah, this is the real problem. They have no idea who committed this crime. I know he's a psychologist, not a psychiatrist, but yeah. He's irresponsibly opining on shit he knows nothing about. He can opine about his own patients, but to go on and say that, oh, it doesn't matter. Which is whatever, but you know, when people, I'm not going to diagnose someone, so here's the diagnosis. Yeah, a lot of doctors seem to do that. Something that's bothering DB right now is Find My iPhone. It's not because of the family, it's because of the investigators. Why wouldn't they have asked or tried to use it? I don't know. So one of the things that was mentioned yesterday, and I think both Andrea and Lawyer Lee, I didn't watch all of Allie and Bob last night. I fell asleep. but they mentioned that there was a picture from Libby's funeral on one of the extractions of Libby's phone. That's one issue, but that's not what DB was talking about. So DB was talking about the fact that Andrea said the Find My iPhone app was actually turned on or enabled on Libby's phone. And it's confusing as to why that wasn't utilized. Hammy says it's because they didn't isolate the phone and it must have iCloud downloaded on the phone. He may have truth exposed, very possible. Dr. Grande is really good. I like him. Well, my opinion. So I don't know that the phone was ever actually given back. So Lawyer Lee said something last night I don't think is likely. This was just her own kind of guessing that maybe they gave the phone back to the family and they used it and then law enforcement requested it back. I don't believe that the phone ever left law enforcement since they collected it from the crime scene. That to me, I think she just kind of didn't think that through very thoroughly, because that doesn't make any sense. I mean, that's a integral, most integral piece of evidence from the crime. So there's no way that the law enforcement would allow that out of their custody and then back into their custody. But I can't make sense of the Find My iPhone app being, because we've heard for a long time that it wasn't that it wasn't downloaded or on her phone, and there was this factory reset. I mean, there was a lot of confusing statements made by the family, and I don't think the family is making these on their own guess. Like, I think that this is what the family's been told by these incompetent fucking cops who just don't know what the fuck they're doing, and they lie and they tell the family things, and then the family repeats it because they're asked and they want answers and to give answers to. And then for 7 years, we have an idea about something, then it comes out in the trial that she had that on her phone all the time. So okay, so this is a digital forensics procedure manual. I imagine for yeah. So this is the airplane mode thing that Andrew was saying they did not do. If the device is powered on, attempts should be made to completely isolate it from all cellular, Bluetooth, and Wi-Fi signals. This can be achieved through several methods, such as manually enabling offline mode or airplane mode, or placing it in a shielded enclosure to block the signals from going in or out. They did not do that. They did not do that. That's concerning. So that kind of contaminates. Sorry, I'm just looking to see if there's any updates. Dougie gonna do a testimony? Yeah, it's their own policy that they didn't follow, which seems par for the course here. No, that's a lovely thing to say. ISP skipped that course. Yeah, they skipped their own course. Oh, I know what I was trying to do. I'm sorry. So this is the video that we have. One of the things that people have been kind of raging about for 7 years is that this video, depending on which frame, I mean, depending on the frame, like, look, now that DB showed that video he made, you know, I'm seeing a lot of similar, I'm seeing a lot of similar characteristics of this bridge guy, interpolated bridge guy, as we saw in DB's helpful explanation of what interpolation is. Like, this looks like a pixelated blob. This is a pixelated blob, and I am so tired of the arguments that this looks like anybody. See how the background's moving too? That's going to create interpolation just like the horse legs. So it could be a lot of people truth exposed. This is, I agree with this. It could be anyone. This could literally be anyone. And the problem with interpolation is that it's not pure raw like evidence footage. And it should not be used. I mean, sure, use it in a YouTube video. Use it in a, I don't know. But don't use it in a trial for a double homicide that is, and don't use it to convict somebody of double homicide, of 2 counts of murder, and put them in prison for the rest of their life based on an AI enhanced video of somebody who you can't even see in the original video or hear. I have issues too with the voice. The voice was interpolated. The voice was interpolated. The voice was altered and changed. And you know what? It is all of a sudden feeling really, really nefarious and shady and fucked to me that the first thing the police said before they played this video is, you're going to hear a voice say, down the hill. Because that is your interpolated, subjective interpretation of what you hear. Maybe I would have heard something different. Maybe I would have heard something entirely different, but you just told me what to listen for. And that's not even the authentic raw audio, because everybody who listened to watched the video in court yesterday, yes, this is exactly what I think. I think that that's essentially what this is, Peggy. And I've been calling it predictive AI. And if that's incorrect, DB, please, you can correct me. I feel like it's basically predictive AI. You're filling in something that's not there. So they fill in the gaps. I don't know. I think Betsy is like middle-aged Hoosier. I know she's like I want to say she's like an old, not older, but like she's definitely like maybe it's like 50s. She's like a middle-age plus. Sham666 says they should have let the psychic on the jury. It would have been just as useful. Basically, that's what this video is. They're going to use this pixelated video, but not the eyewitnesses or the sketches they released to the public begging for help finding that person. Witness said predictive. Yep, in testimony. He has a 31 inseam, is wearing 34s, truth exposed. That's funny. Hunter. I like that you're here again. We like new people. I have a feeling we can win you over. but you keep saying the same thing over and over again. And we have heard from how many witnesses that there were multiple people out there that day. Betsy Blair said the man that she saw was beautiful in appearance and young. And that's the man that the state is saying was on the bridge who killed the girls. Attraction strengthens memory. Tolman said at the 3-day hearings that their identification of Rick was based on witness testimony. Right. Yeah. Beautiful in appearance is wild. These pets are getting on my nerves. Peggy, I bet you do. Some have said she was saying youthful, not beautiful. So I heard youthful, and then I heard beautiful in his appearance, but maybe she said youthful. Andrea said beautiful. It's hard for me to, I mean, maybe she said youthful. I mean, regardless, that's pretty wild. Beauty is subjective, Hunter. That's a beautiful thing to say. It is subjective. Youthful would have made so much more sense. Yeah, maybe she said youthful, but they did. Thank you. Hey, Gritty. Welcome, Gritty. Everybody go subscribe to Gritty's channel. I'm really bad about linking because every time I try, I have RAM issues. No, it isn't subjective science. Andrea did say beautiful. So until I hear different, we've heard youthful and beautiful. Oh yeah, Hunter, that's pretty cool. Good for you, man. Oh yeah. Hey, Steve, this case is so crazy. Not blue eyes. Yeah, I think that it's problematic. Hey, sweet Caroline. Welcome. Good morning. Happy to have you. We love lurkers here. We really do. Our brains will decide subconsciously in under a second whether we think a person's attractive or not. Tall and muscular is all it takes for people to be considered beautiful. Twitter Defense Diaries update. Let's see.
Way to give you guys a little information during these brief breaks. So we've had 2 witnesses on the stand this morning. First witness was Eyewitness Sarah Carbaugh. If you're familiar with the case, you know that she is one of the witnesses that was not on the trails but had driven down 300 North, and she is the muddy, bloody witness. She was interesting. She was an interesting witness. She was very combative with Baldwin on cross-examination, which I thought was interesting and a bit unusual. I'm not sure why she was so combative. Her story changed multiple times during the 3 interviews that she gave over the course of 2 years. Initially, Baldwin established that she did not mention the word bloody in her first 2 interviews. Now, in her second interview, she made a claim that approximately an hour to an hour and a half of her interview with law enforcement of the video has vanished. And it was during that time that she used the word bloody. The state had not brought that up during direct, so I thought that that was very unusual. She, as I said, was combative. Baldwin had to refresh her recollection with the transcript of her first interview with respect to her not saying the word bloody initially because she was adamant that she had. He then handed her the transcript, and basically she reviewed it very thoroughly. And she says, it doesn't appear that I used the word bloody, but I know I said it. So she was really dug into the position. And when I'm saying combative, I mean combative. Like, she was coming back at Baldwin pretty hard. And I'll obviously get into the details of what she said. I didn't even bring my notes down. That witness lasted about an hour. So in comparison to our 3 eyewitnesses that we had yesterday, those ranged from about 25 to 35 minutes max for both direct and cross-examination. So this was a very lengthy eyewitness that was up on the stand in terms of comparing to the other 3 eyewitnesses that we had yesterday. It's a really interesting one. I'm going to go in depth tonight during the live with her. I found her to be off-putting personally. I did not think she was a great witness for the state. I thought she was overly combative. There were multiple questions by the jurors, which if you follow our lives, I love. It just shows how in tune they are with this trial, how much attention they're paying. Second witness that came up, and I've got to run back in. We now have the forensic pathologist, Roland Core. He is on the stand currently. He is who performed both autopsies, and we're about an hour into his testimony, and it is, as you can imagine, heartbreaking. We're just getting into Abigail's autopsy, which was the first one conducted. I'm going to leave you with this. It appears that there was only one wound, and it was an incision to the neck ranging. You said the initial wound appeared to be about 2.5 inches, and directionality was left to right. He didn't find any other wounds, no defensive wounds, no bruising. He did, upon questioning by Luttrell, who's doing the direct, state that he saw a very faint mark on her mouth, which he could have considered a very light ligature mark, maybe that it was tape, he opined. He couldn't say definitively. They did not find any evidence on her body of tape or any kind of cloth. But so he did state that, and that was the first that we have heard of that. All right, I'll keep you guys updated. I got to head back in.
All right. So was everybody able to hear that? Bob's update from this morning. We had 2 witnesses. So let's see. Update. Morning witness. Sarah Carbaugh. First on stand was very combative with Baldwin. Story changed multiple times. Lasted 1 hour on stand. Now on stand, Dr. Roland Core. Autopsy. Abby had 1 wound to neck. Possible linkage. Oops. I would love to know what the questions were, Bob. That's okay. No sign of a struggle is bullshit. Y'all, you can always block, I don't think that they want to frame. I just said you can block, and now I'm about to feed the troll. Not that you're a troll hunter, but you are persistent. We love that. I don't think that anyone is purposefully framing. I think that they're very, very, very bad at their jobs. And I believe that most of them really do think that he is their guy because they need him to be. And I think that they're very stupid and they think this is their guy, and that's how they're gonna convict him. If they have to lie, cheat, or steal to get him, then what difference does it make if he's the right guy? They can justify their behavior. Yeah. Hunter, I'm going to respectfully ask you to be a little bit less combative and a little bit less. I'm glad you're here, but you're now being a little distracting. Just like blocking the defense odinism option. Was her mouth taped and was the person left-handed, left to right with her wound incision? So what's interesting to me about that more than anything, yeah, thank you. It doesn't need to be a frame job for there to be reasonable doubt. Don't do a car ball. Yes, good point. I'm from Indiana. This place is corrupt. Left to right means the right-handed person was standing in front of Abby. I mean, yeah, it would have been very helpful had the task force taken advantage of, a wound or weapons expert. We're told they did not. Right-handed. Tape leaves residue that they could test for. So it sounds like Dr. Cord left open the possibility of a ligature. It could have been cloth or tape, he said, but he didn't. I mean, but we also know Abby's body was, I think the word we've heard was like pristine in terms of, perhaps washed, perhaps just, I don't know. We don't know. I wish we did know, but okay. Can you believe it's worse than we've always thought? Andrea mentioned the juror appears to be infatuated with Nick McClelland. Yeah, I saw that. What about covering mouth with hand? Yeah, should I replay that? Should I replay Bob's thing? I kind of want to hear it again, if that's okay with everyone. It was short, I think. Short-ish. I have no concept of time, but handkerchief, interesting, Peggy. That's a good thought. Didn't they find a hanky in the creek? I like that, Peggy. I like the way you think. Peggy, our researcher, our dark web researcher. Play it again. Okay, I will play it again. Let's replay and speculate. Yes, let's do it. Ems, I love you. There was a bandana hanky found in the creek. I want to know, did they say what kind of handkerchief? Was it one of those like typical pattern, like, yeah, I'm going to replay Bob. If anyone remembers exactly what color or description of the handkerchief found in the creek, let me know, because I would love to know. Hanker was pretty small. Bandana may work. Yeah. A green headscarf. Interesting. I'm going to have to go back and replay. White bandana, I think. Okay, so I'm hearing a couple of different things. All right, Bob.
Breaks. So we've had two witnesses on the stand this morning. First witness was Eyewitness Sarah Carbaugh. If you're familiar with the case, you know that she is one of the witnesses that was not on the trails, but had driven down 300 North, and she is the muddy, bloody witness. She was interesting. She was an interesting witness. She was very combative with Baldwin on cross-examination, which I thought was interesting and a bit unusual. I'm not sure why she was so combative. Her story changed multiple times during the 3 interviews that she gave over the course of 2 years. Initially, Baldwin established that she did not mention the word bloody in her first 2 interviews. Now, in her second interview, she made a claim that approximately an hour to an hour and a half of her interview with law enforcement of the video has vanished. And it was during that time that she used the word bloody. The state had not brought that up during direct, so I thought that was very unusual. She, as I said, was combative. Baldwin had to refresh her recollection with the transcript of her first interview with respect to her not saying the word bloody initially because she was adamant that she had. He then handed her the transcript, and basically she reviewed it very thoroughly. And she says, it doesn't appear that I used the word bloody, but I know I said it. So she was really dug into the position. And when I'm saying combative, I mean, combative. Like, she was coming back at Baldwin pretty hard. And I'll obviously get into the details of what she said. I didn't even bring my notes down. That witness lasted about an hour. So in comparison to our 3 eyewitnesses that we had yesterday, those ranged from about 25 to 35 minutes max for both direct and cross examination. So this was a very lengthy eyewitness that was up on the stand in terms of comparing to the other 3 eyewitnesses that we had yesterday. It's a really interesting one. I'm going to go in depth tonight during the live with her. I found her to be off-putting personally. I did not think she was a great witness for the state. I thought she was overly combative. There were multiple questions by the jurors, which if you follow our lives, I love. It just shows how in tune they are with this trial, how much attention they're paying. Second witness that came up, and I've got to run back in. We now have the forensic pathologist, Roland Core. He is on the stand currently. He is who performed both autopsies, and we're about an hour into his testimony, and it is, as you can imagine, heartbreaking. We're just getting into Abigail's autopsy, which was the first one conducted. I'm going to leave you with this. It appears that there was only one wound, and it was an incision to the neck ranging. You said the initial wound appeared to be about 2.5 inches, and directionality was left to right. He didn't find any other wounds, no defensive wounds, no bruising. He did, upon questioning by Luttrell, who's doing the direct, state that he saw a very faint mark on her mouth, which he could have considered a very light ligature mark, maybe that it was tape, he opined. He couldn't say definitively. They did not find any evidence on her body of tape or any kind of cloth. But so he did state that, and that was the first that we have heard of that. All right, I'll keep you guys updated. I got to head back in.
Interesting. Very interesting. So we have just learned the first witness on the stand this morning, source, first witness on the stand this morning, nothing about fingernails yet, was Sarah Carbaugh. Sarah Carbaugh was the eyewitness who claimed to have seen a man walking down 300 North around 3:57 p.m. on February 13th, 2017. That was initially, she said he was muddy, and then she was interviewed 3 separate times over I think Bob said over a course of 2 years, and her story changed 3 times. She never said bloody in the first 2 interviews. And she was very combative with the defense attorney, Mr. Baldwin, on the stand. Very combative, according to Bob. If Bob is calling somebody off-putting, then they must be off-putting. So this is a precise incision, says Precocent. Do y'all understand how difficult it would be to make an incision that small and actually penetrate and sever an artery? It's not a dull blade. It's not a common knife. In one of her interviews, apparently, she said that. This is true. Sarah Carbaugh has been interpolating her statements over the years. So another thing we learned was that there was a single cut to Abigail's neck. Her autopsy was conducted first by Dr. Core. And Abby's wound, she had 1 wound per Dr. Core, no defensive wounds on her body. So now that's twice, neither Libby nor Abby, from what we've heard. I'm feeling this might be the case. Now, the first witnesses yesterday, I know I'm all over the place, y'all. I apologize. And if you're just tuning in, I'm all over the place often. So the first witnesses that we heard yesterday, the young girls, I actually believe that I was told that the defense and the state, especially Andy and Ajay, were quite gentle with those witnesses. They were compassionate. They were not, they believe, they didn't question them as if they didn't believe them. They challenged some of their claims using, things we know about eyewitness testimony, but at no point were they unkind, harsh. I think that these witnesses for yesterday, I feel very bad for them. I have a lot of compassion and sympathy for them because the state has basically put them in an impossible position where they have to pretty much be certain about something that they saw. And it's like a man's life now depends on their testimony. And that's a position I would hate to be in. Our memory does interpolate, actually. I think I said this in the chat last night. Like, our memory literally does what predictive AI does. And that's why eyewitness testimony is not reliable enough. It can help kind of be used, I guess, as an investigative tool sometimes, but it's very tricky. It's very dangerous because our memory tries to fill in gaps and make sense of fractured kind of pieces of information, and our memory fills it in. That's why two people who witness something identical at the same time can remember it quite differently, and they're not lying. Their memory is just different. So that's kind of how I perceive the witnesses that were interviewed yesterday. Sarah Carbaugh, I've always had a problem with this witness, not personally, but I've always had a problem with her as a witness. For starters, it certainly seems like her story changed drastically in a very specific kind of outrageous, convenient way for law enforcement. Sarah Carbaugh's changed testimony, and I'm thinking about the Franks memo and the Franks material, right? Liggett says, I didn't lie. All Eyes has a good TED Talk about memory interpolation. I would love to see it, All Eyes. The Franks memo talks about Tony Liggett lying or omitting information like Sarah Carbaugh's testimony. I think that Sarah Carbaugh changed her testimony, and that's a problem. He wasn't a pharmacist. Let's be fact-based. Rick Allen was not anything close to a pharmacist. He was a pharmacy technician. They have no medical training. I don't think a pharmacy tech would know how to precisely and accurately create an incision in a victim's neck without any other defensive wounds. Yeah. So many people have been convicted with eyewitness testimony and then later exonerated with DNA. Yes, eyewitness testimony is really, really dangerous when it comes to accuracy. Hunter Wood, a real problem with 4 juvenile witnesses' testimony. Oh, shit, I can't copy or paste. I really, really hate StreamYard, y'all. There's got to be a better way. Actually, let me try this. I think I can do it this way. All Eyes, if you want to come up, you're always welcome. I'm going to send you a link in a second. I know you got stuff and things and paste. Ah, jeez. Here it is. That was a good update from Bob. I've really appreciated his updates. Okay. This is a video. Thank you, Ems. Yes. Okay. I need to be better about checking Discord. Okay. So this is a video from All Eyes. I'm going to play it. We're going to watch it together. It's 4 minutes. Here we go.
In a study in the 1990s, participants recalled getting lost in a shopping mall as children. Some shared these memories in vivid detail. One even remembered that the old man who rescued him was wearing a flannel shirt. But none of these people had actually gotten lost in a mall. They produced these false memories when the psychologists conducting the study told them they'd gotten lost. And although they might not remember the incident, their parents had confirmed it. And it wasn't just 1 or 2 people who thought they remembered getting lost. A quarter of the participants did. These findings may sound unbelievable, but they actually reflect a very common experience. Our memories are sometimes unreliable. And though we still don't know precisely what causes this fallibility on a neurological level, research has highlighted some of the most common ways our memories diverge from what actually happened. The Mall study highlights how we can incorporate information from outside sources, like other people or the news, into our personal recollections without realizing it. This kind of suggestibility is just one influence on our memories. Take another study, in which researchers briefly showed a random collection of photographs to a group of participants, including images of a university campus none of them had ever visited. When shown the images 3 weeks later, a majority of participants said that they had probably or definitely visited the campus in the past. The participants misattributed information from one context, an image they'd seen, onto another, a memory of something they believed they actually experienced. In another experiment, people were shown an image of a magnifying glass and then told to imagine a lollipop. They frequently recalled that they saw the magnifying glass and the lollipop. They struggled to link the objects to the correct context, whether they actually saw them or simply imagined them. Another study, where a psychologist questioned over 2,000 people on their views about the legalization of marijuana, highlights yet another kind of influence on memory. Participants answered questions in 1973 and 1982. Those who said they had supported marijuana legalization in 1973, but reported they were against it in 1982, were more likely to recall that they were actually against legalization in 1973, bringing their old views in line with their current ones. Our current opinions, feelings, and experiences can bias our memories of how we felt in the past. All of these fallibilities of memory can have real-world impacts. If police interrogations use leading questions with eyewitnesses or suspects, suggestibility could result in incorrect identifications or unreliable confessions. Even in the absence of leading questions, misattribution can lead to inaccurate eyewitness testimony. In a courtroom, if a judge rules a piece of evidence inadmissible and tells jurors to disregard it, they may not be able to do so. In a medical setting, if a patient seeks a second opinion and the second physician is aware of the first one's diagnosis, that knowledge may bias their conclusion. Our memories are not ironclad representations of reality, but subjective perceptions. And there's not necessarily anything wrong with that. The problems arise when we treat memory as fact, rather than accepting this fundamental truth about the nature of our recollections.
This is a great video. Always thank you. So basically, brains can alter our memories to better align with our current beliefs, right? So if I change if my paradigms and my beliefs change over the course of 2 decades, let's say the example they gave was legalization of marijuana, I think, right? And so let's say 20 years ago, I don't agree with it, and now I do. I might remember myself being a little bit more open to it than I was at the time, if that makes sense. How do you unhear something, right? And another thing they said that's really important is that, and this is all subconscious, right? This is not overt, intentional overt conscious behavior that we're that we're doing. This is all just kind of automatic processes that take place in our brain. If a juror is told to disregard something, right, that they're shown or told in a courtroom during a trial, they may not be able to do that. So when Nick McClelland purposefully, despite knowing that there's a motion in limine pending, when he purposefully asks a witness on the stand in front of the jury, what is it that you hear in this audio clip? And the witness says, I hear down the hill. And let's say the judge rules on the motion in limine tonight and tomorrow says, okay, you know, or whatever. I mean, I guess she would have had, I don't know how it would work, but let's say that they're told or instructed to disregard that because it's an opinion or subjective. Well, they can't, because now they've heard it. You can't unhear it. You can't, someone said you can't put the toothpaste back in the toothpaste bottle. You can't unhear something. And nobody does it to be nefarious except maybe Sarah Carbo. I don't know what her problem is. There's something deeper going on with her. I don't think it has anything to do with Rick Allen, but there's some. I think witnesses should have to submit to very standardized, basic personality tests before they can get on a stand. That's just my opinion. I'm kidding. I'm joking. Anyway, I don't remember hearing this. That's interesting, but that's something that the defense would know, because one of the things they outright said in their discovery request made like in December 22 or something was that basically any witness that, you know, was promised, or so they get the criminal history of all witnesses, any promises or deals or whatever made with witnesses in relation or exchange for testimony. Like these are all things that the defense, I imagine, would vet, especially for a witness whose testimony is so important to the state and the defense individually. So I'm sure that this is not their first rodeo with Sarah Carbaugh. She has been on their radar since at least August, when they started what did I just click? I said there's no study in human anatomy at all. I don't remember saying that. You better come with receipts, boy. That's why I said we have to have self-awareness about this. If Sarah Carbaugh thinks that her memory is fact and she's not aware it's not a thing, it's probably why she's being a bitch about it. Yeah, although it does sound like she's like kind of like almost it almost sounds like she's making shit up. She said, well, it was in the recording, an hour and a half of my recording was lost. But the state never made that, so there was more shit lost? Because the state never said that. Like, where is she getting that? Is that true, or did she just make it up? Like, it's just very odd. I sent you my AI explainer Twitter post, DB and Ange. Okay, let's see. I think what I said was that Rick Allen, as a pharmacy tech, doesn't have any medical school, like medical training as a pharmacy tech. What? Let's see. Regarding blurry photo. Okay, here is Hammy. Oh, got it. Thank you. Thank you very much. Okay, so yeah, precocin, I agree. Hey, Tammy, it's so good to see you. Hi, Truth Seeker, my friends. Okay. Yeah, I'm about to Zoom. I'm going to do a Zoom. Thank you. Thank you very much. Regarding blurry photos and the Delphi case, you might be wondering, can't I just put a photo of Bridge Guy through some fancy AI program and make it less blurry? Yes. Regarding AI, you would be talking about using GANs, a generative adversarial network. This would use a trained model to basically generate fake pixels to guess what would be there. Check out this paper. I'm going to link it. We're also going to link this thread. So, original image, input, scene matches, output. So, given an input image with a missing region, we use matching scenes from a large collection of photographs to complete the image, right? So this image turns into this image. It's guessing. It's filling in. Let me just read what Hammy said. I'm not going to try to. GANs to basically generate fake pixels as it's trying to guess what would be there. It would be a mathy guess called downscaling if you're in the AI field, or upscaling if you're in the statistics field. Figure 1, further comparison of pulse with bicubic upscaling. Very interesting. So, if we're trying to solve a case, generating fake pixels wouldn't be helpful, really. Here's an example of how GAN's model is used to downscale this blurry photo of Obama, and it generates a white man, showing the inherent bias of the models and how they're not always right. So here's a blurry picture of Obama, and here is this technology, this GAN's model trying to predict and fill in this blurry pixelated version. And we know what this version really looks like. So this is not accurate. This is, in fact, very, very wrong. If you're working with a blurry photo, what can you do? There's signal processing methods you can use to figure out information about the photo. For example, you can use a convolution kernel to do an image transformation and apply it as a filter. I'm going to need you to break that down, little Hammy, but this would give you information about what's going on in the photo without generating fake pixels. Think about this like applying a filter to your Instagram photos that makes it sharper. Okay. Interesting. Do I know what investigators did with the photo of Bridge Guy, whether they used AI GANs or a filter? No. My guess is that they added a filter and didn't generate pixels because that wouldn't be helpful for an investigation, and or that wasn't really available back then. I wouldn't put it past Delphi investigators, though. That said, they most likely filtered the photo to make the sides and person sharper. I don't personally think it was that deep. This is a link to Hammy's. I am hoping that Ajay or whomever will bring this up again. Hey, Luke. Did I send that? Yes. Okay, here's this link to this thread. All right. This is an interesting post that I meant to share earlier, and I forgot. So, but is that what they testified to yesterday? Didn't he say that they used, well, I guess we don't know. The guy who did the video is a trooper. All right. In other news, Bob Siegel posted this nice little posty post this morning. I asked the county's EMA director how many law enforcement agencies are helping provide security for the courthouse and for jury escorts during the trial. There's a lot, 36 to be exact. All right, there's our hat. We really need to get some of this merch. Emergency management. There's Giancola. First person, I believe. Oh no, that was Catrone. Who was Giancola? I feel like I'm confused as to who the first officer on the scene was, but anyway, there's Giancola. There's a sheriff's car. And here's a list of all of the agencies providing security for this trial. Imagine how much money they could save if this fucking lunatic of a judge would just stream the motherfucker. Imagine? Brookston Police, Burlington Police, Camden Police, Carroll County Coroner's Office, Carroll County Emergency Management, Carroll County Sheriff, Cass County Sheriff, Clinton County Sheriff, Clay County Sheriff, the Delphi Police Department, Flora Police Department, the Fountain County Sheriff, Frankfort Police, Fulton County Sheriff, Grant County Sheriff, Howard County Sheriff, Indiana Department of Natural Resources Conservation Officers, Indiana State Police, Jasper County Sheriff, Kokomo Police Department, Lafayette Police Department, Logansport Police Department, Marshall County Sheriff, Monon Police, Montgomery County Sheriff, Monticello Police, Pulaski County, Reynolds Police, Stark County, Tippecanoe County Sheriff, Vermilion County, West Lafayette Police, Wabash County Police, White County Sheriff, and White County Community Corrections. Interesting. Great. So fun. How many of these guys have 40 calibers, huh? What did Mandy say? I missed it. God damn it, B. I'm telling you that emergency management merch is the ticket for sure. M's. We can get this list, but not the witness list. Yeah, who gave him this list? Where the fuck is the witness list? Do you think the sketches will come in now? I think they have to. I don't see how they don't. They're all going to get Letterman jacket, Abby and Libby trial protection team. Yeah, right. He's safe. Nice. Oh, God. That's way too many law enforcement agencies. For what? For what? You've got 24 members of the public inside. Fucking 24 people are allowed in this to bear witness to this trial. 24. They all heard about the free snacks and haircuts that Carroll County has set up for all their hardworking law enforcement officers. It's fucking stupid. Some of these places are over 2 hours away. Gull might have gotten threats. Gull, trust me, if Gull got a threat, we'd hear all about it. She already said that she lied. She said that she got death threats in letters that were on the record. Nobody threatened Gull in any of those letters that were written to her and then put into the court record. This woman lies. She wakes up in the morning, she fucking lies. That's what she does. That is what she does. She's a liar. She's the one that put it on the docket. They threaten her authority. That's true. Captain says he is an AI-generated chatbot. Y'all. Yeah, I suspect we'll see a motion to admit the composite sketches. Many of you have been asking about people in court today. Oops. Caitlin Kendall. Many have been asking about people in court today. Jurors listening intently, asking questions, taking notes. Victim families, incredibly strong, paying close attention. Allen family, good spirits, paying close attention. Allen is listening and taking notes. Yeah. Cool. I want a jury question. Where are the jury questions? I haven't seen any court sketches. I think that everyone just roasted them too hard. I think we may have ruined it. Criminal Network says, I didn't threaten her, but I did tell her Abby Libby will be back to snatch her soul. Her simply waking up in the morning is a lie because she is in fact a vampire. It's true. Mm-hmm. You had a failure to appear last time. Can I share this 4 pits? I imagine I can. I reached out and had a conversation with Derek this morning. Past hour, we have been messaging. I did my part to make amends. The rest on them. That's great, 4 pits. It's good to hear. I love to hear that. I'm sad that the roasted man, the sketch man, took his crayons and went home. I know. No, Judge Jessica, please share. I didn't know that. Lord. Right. I am like so interested in Dr. Kaur's testimony this morning. If you missed it earlier, Bob Mata gave an update and said that Sarah Carbaugh was on the stand this morning for about an hour. She's the witness that reported to see the man on 300 North, muddy and bloody. She is in the probable cause affidavit. She saw someone at 3:57 p.m. walking, so they were going. She was on the stand for an hour this morning. Bob Mata described her as quite combative with Andy. We'll learn more about that. And then after Sarah, and who's on the stand now, Dr. Roland Kaur, who's a pathologist, and he did the autopsies of the girls in Terre Haute. Oh God. What was I saying? What was I just saying? Oh, autopsy. So the first autopsy conducted was on Abby. Bob said that sorry, I just got distracted. Single cut to Abby's neck, going left to right. 2.5 inches long. No other defensive wounds or injuries on Abby of any kind. Oh, and there was a what could be like a faint mark on Abby's mouth, possible faint ligature mark on Abby's mouth is how Bob said it, but we don't have any like definitive answer about that per the pathologist. So that's our update. So the pathologist is on the stand. It's so weird. Like, so Bob gave us an update. Why isn't anybody else updating us? Weird. That's odd. So strange. I love all the Photoshop experts coming out of the woodwork explaining how interpolation works. I would love to hear, yeah, Curious Luke, I don't know. No defensive wounds to me has always been confusing. Oh, cool. Shay Hughes, he's a public defender in Indiana, posted about the motion filed this morning by Andy and Brad. Today, Allen filed his motion to admit evidence of odinism, Norse paganism, and ritualistic killings, contending in part that the crime scene investigator Brian Olay testified that the sticks covering the girls indicated an attempt to conceal the bodies. Allen certainly has the right to present a defense, which includes the right to present the defendant's version of the facts so that the jury can decide where the truth lies. But this right is not absolute, and a defendant must comply with the rules of evidence. As I've mentioned before, evidence is relevant if, one, it has a tendency to make a fact more or less probable than it would be without the evidence, and two, the fact is of consequence in determining the action. The arrangement of the sticks as a sign of a ritualistic murder, then as concealment, makes it less probable that Allen committed the offense. It's certainly a fact of consequence, as identity is a material element and there's likely no direct evidence of identity. Again, this is a low standard. Further, I have difficulty seeing how such evidence would be excluded pursuant to the Indiana rules of evidence, as it has a high probative value for identical reasons. Moreover, a witness or a party may open the door to evidence that was otherwise inadmissible. If a party addresses a subject but leaves the jury with a false or misleading impression, the door may be opened to bring in otherwise inadmissible evidence. In this instance, Allen contends that a state witness offered an opinion about the arrangement of the sticks. That a defense witness, Dr. Perlmutter, has a different opinion. Both witnesses are similarly situated to the degree that they were not present when the murders occurred. As provided above, Dr. Perlmutter's testimony would be helpful in ultimately determining identity. Thus, Dr. Perlmutter's opinion is admissible under Evidence Rule 701. Please let me know if I'm forgetting something. If you don't follow Shay and you are interested in the legal unfolding, he says, oh, so the defense is paying Shay Hughes too. State's like, yeah, we Photoshop Rick on the bridge. Can we not do that? Yeah, I want to know more about no defensive wounds to the girls. One person who the state says had 2 knives, a gun, maybe a ligature, under an hour. It's confusing for sure. Very confusing. To me, no defensive wounds means no time or opportunity to fight back. Yeah, that makes sense. Like they were caught by surprise, but how could that be true for both of them? You know? I could see maybe that for one girl. but you'd have to kill one of them first. So it's a horrible thing to think about, but it's important as it relates to this trial. This doesn't make any sense. Oh, good. The prosecutor's podcast tweeted. So stupid. God. I'm going to pull up Andrea's live because I want to check and see how she described. Yeah, I wouldn't be surprised by this. I don't know if a tox was done. I imagine we'll find out this morning during Dr. Kaur's testimony. Yeah. Emily, all we know is what Bob Mata shared in a very brief update. Abby had one wound to her neck, no other defensive wounds or injuries on her body anywhere. And Dr. Kaur testified to a slight mark on her mouth that could be a possible faint ligature mark on her mouth, but nothing definitive was said or known about it. And that's all we know so far. It was a really short update. So Dr. Kaur is on the stand right now testifying, and so we'll hopefully learn more. I'm sure we won't learn more until Andrea or Lawyer Lee tells us about it, because the media is only reporting on bullshit, but we'll see. He said the jury asked a lot of questions. He didn't say what they were, but he did say they asked a lot of questions. Fiend predicts at least one medical bombshell. Yeah. I believe the cut was 2.5 inches long, Shane, from how I understand what Bob said, from left to right, 2.5 inches long. I think. Maybe I misunderstood that. That's a good question. I don't know, actually. Give me some keywords that we have questions about from yesterday so I can search this transcript. What were we talking about? We talked about interpolation. We talked about the phone, phone. Okay. So here, Andrea, last night in her live, was talking about what they did and didn't do with Libby's phone. Andrea said she was horrified when the witness was describing what they did with this phone. According to him, in 2017, the normal practice was that you go through and manually examine the phone first to document it. You would photograph the exterior of the phone, the condition it was in. Does it have a cracked screen? Did it have a case on it? Pull out the SIM card, photograph the SIM card, turn it on, get in the phone, and take photos of things on the phone. And Andrea says, I am here to tell you that in 2017, that was 100% not the best practice. They have known for a long time the best practice is that when you get the phone, you put it in airplane mode. You put it in airplane mode, power it off, and keep it off, and don't do anything with it, because anything you do runs the risk of overriding information that's stored on it. You're destroying potential stuff that's available to be recovered. The other reason is, even back in 2017, there are remote access potentials to get into the phone remotely where someone can go in and remotely wipe it. That would be pretty bad. She said, this is just mind-blowing to me. I really thought this was basic knowledge because I knew it and I had heard it from all kinds of cell phone examiners. It's not what they did. They open the settings, take photos of the screen to show the software version, operating system, identifying information of the phone. Then they do the extraction. They plug it straight into a computer, extract it straight into the computer, and process it through a software program. He was describing how in 2017, when he had the phone, there was basically one method of extraction called Celebrate. It got a little confusing in the testimony because as he was describing it, there's 3 methods of extraction. There's 3 extraction types. There's a logical, advanced, and physical extraction. Different ways for Celebrate to get into the phone and get information. Okay. It wasn't entirely clear what he was trying to say here. And so in 2017, there were only these 2 methods. It wasn't until later that method 3 became available. That will become important in a moment. We saw the photos he took of the phone, the SIM card and the screen lock, and the picture of the homepage. The battery was dead at the time that he received it. So they plugged it into a charger and turned it on. They were provided the code to be able to get into the phone. Okay. By whom? I would like to know. They didn't do anything to modify the data before they extracted it. He pinky swears. This was funny. They didn't do anything to the data to modify it before they extracted it. You know, he didn't go in and delete stuff. He pinky swears. I love Andrea, dude. Yeah.
Hello?
Hey, DB.
Hey, I got like 5 minutes. Can I talk?
Please. Yeah, go ahead. I'll mute.
Okay, so I've heard a lot of questions about this stuff over the last day, mainly from Andrea's video. What I will say about this is the number one thing that's an issue that's literally in the ISP manual is that you make the phone unable to connect to data and signal, because what you're doing is forensically preserving the phone. You need to preserve the evidence on the phone. And to do that, you need to extract the phone and make a clone of that phone in your Celebrite server. Now, then you can look at the data that's in the phone, but on the server, but not fucking around with the phone. And the issue with fucking around with the phone is you're destroying evidence, because there's things called caches and temp files or write-ahead logs. And what happens is every time you're changing the state of a database or a log, you're rewriting the information that's next up to be destroyed and to be, taken off the hardware of the phone. So the issue is that it sounds like this guy is just having a peek, looking around. They extracted the phone on the 15th. They should have never touched a phone. They should have taken it straight to the police station. They should have, even before that, they should have immediately put it in airplane mode. Immediately. Because what happens when you're not in airplane mode? You hit a tower. What happens when you hit a tower? You download a new set of data, and it may write over something that's already there. So you immediately want to put it up in airplane mode, and you want to put it in a drawer. A digital forensics lab has literal evidence drawers that lock, that have a charger. So you put it in there, put it in a charger, or put it on the charger, make sure that it stays in airplane mode, and you do the extraction. You want to do a GNOTE?
It doesn't look like there's anything really like new, just that he did the autopsy. They both died from neck wounds. He couldn't testify. No evidence of sexual trauma to Abby. Not sure about Libby yet. Talks about Sierra Carbaugh. At no point does she say she was asked if Bridge Guy was Richard Allen in her opinion. She was combative with the defense attorneys. They asked her why she didn't mention blood in the past. She said she did. They didn't write it down. She also said that in her videotaped interview was lost when the DVR was recorded over. So that's all. I'll put that in the chat, but I want you to keep going with what you're saying though.
Okay. One second.
You're talking about airplane mode and towers.
Yeah. Okay, so basically there's the tower issue, but there's also just generally when the new phone, when you're doing stuff to the phone, dude, if you're like looking at your phone right now and you hit the power button and you can see your notifications, you just wrote over something. Because all the tiny little details of KnowledgeC and all the state databases and stuff, those are all right there. And T-Dub, do they teach you all that this at AAA? Well, I just happen to be at a AAA very close to some really cool places where a lot of people overshare when I'm making their burritos with them. You know what I mean? So that's the issue. That's one of the major issues, right? Put it in a fucking Faraday cage if you have to. They have them. Like, it's a thing. If you go in right now and type mobile device extraction policy for ISP, which I think Ann showed earlier, it just literally says make it so that it cannot get signal. I like very clearly means airplane mode. And you don't want to power it off because there's different types of unlocks that you have to do. If it's unlocked and you have the information for it, you want to keep it powered on as long as possible. If you do power it off, that's the issue with the Find My iPhone too, is like,
oh yeah,
why couldn't they use Find My iPhone? Maybe the device was powered off and that's why, and it didn't work. We're not totally clear about that, but it's kind of a strange thing. If you have questions, if anyone has good questions in the chat, will you just click on them?
Yeah. Yep.
Yeah, and they said KnowledgeC. They didn't know about KnowledgeC in 2017. The Celebrite did. So unless they weren't using Celebrite or Axiom, I don't know why they wouldn't know that that is a good device or a good database to look at.
Yeah.
Celebrite's going to parse everything no matter what, and they're going to be able to see it, but I just don't see how they didn't know that. Okay, so and then there's been a lot of confusion about what's in the camera roll. If the Snapchat was in the camera roll, people are calling it a Snapchat. So right now, I think what happened is that was the last video recorded in Snapchat. And because of that, it was stored in the temporary cache file because what they try to do, what software programs will try to do is create the cache because it helps you load the screen faster when you go back to the screen. So like if you're using iOS, you can, you know, when you're looking at all your screens, me and Fiend, we have way too many screens open, you know, we don't close them out.
Right.
All the processes on the device. Well, it just wants to keep those in the cache because if you go to that process, it wants to be able to load it as quickly as possible. So I would imagine that video was saved in the cache because it wasn't in the camera roll, as they said, and it wasn't on the server on her account. So it was probably stored in that temporary cache that helps with making stuff load faster when you go back and forth. And that's why I said last night, they're fucking so lucky they got that video, because if they really did anything with Snapchat, I would imagine they would have lost it. But it must be a very fortunate set of circumstances where they didn't. But it drives me insane that one, they waited to the 15th and to do the extraction, and they didn't find everything, and they're just playing games with what they have. Like, there's a reason why Homeboy was not talking about Cellbrite at those hearings in August. He was looking at Axiom. Okay, so camera roll, the app stores the photo and videos. So on the timeline roll, should the video be taken in the last day or two? He found that it was later taken at 2:13 on February 13th. 2:13. Finally, Jennifer. Okay, so about the geo tagging of the phone or the picture or video. Another issue here too is that it seemed like up until now they were saying that the video was moving live, which is just not the case and not how it works. It's just a single storage of longitude and latitude on a video. So that may change if it gets written over. So there may be other versions of that video that had a different geographical location, and they were able to restore different versions of it. And as that area that it was first given was being, I guess, zoomed in on by and it was being calculated to be more accurate, that it may have appeared that the middle of that area was moving. But there's a lot more to that I'd like to get more information on. But another thing to consider is when you download a video, if you were to download it, oftentimes, depending on your settings, it's going to give you the metadata as if you just downloaded it in the location you're in.
Mm-hmm.
Second extraction, February 21st. They did a second examination. Just stop fucking with the phone. Like, you have a copy of the phone, you have the extraction. And it's so weird. Like, why wouldn't they give it to somebody more qualified?
I don't
Why did
fucking know.
they do it?
Well, didn't she say that? Okay, didn't she say that? I have to go back. I have to find where she actually talks about who did the physical extraction. So, because I don't know if this was later on or now, but she mentions who did the actual extraction, and then she talks about who did like a later extraction they sent off to DHS. So this is ISP then, who did it initially. It wasn't until like 2019 that they sent it to not DHS, or yeah, Homeland Security. I thought they said, right? Or
Yeah, that's what they said.
so
they asked a juror question: did they develop
right?
the
Did they develop knowledge
database
yeah.
or the extraction? Which I'm unclear if they meant the extraction of KnowledgeC or what, but
yeah. So here it is. So they sent it to DHS.
hey, why the fuck were they using DHS so much?
I don't know. It seems like a lot, right? Why were they only? Is it because they couldn't use the FBI because they were in conflict?
Well, maybe they were scared of the FBI because the FBI enforces a law that could have been a violation.
Right.
This crime could have been a violation of, and DHS would just be strictly a partner,
right,
offering technology. I don't know.
A new examiner in 2019 did it. So OJ is quite knowledgeable about phone stuff. The extraction that they did on the 15th of February was an advanced logical extraction. She says, we know that's at least what he said. But their actual report of the extraction, it just says it was a logical extraction, so unclear. Which is the most basic form of extraction.
Okay.
They had to have been given a passcode to get into the phone. They would have had consent to get everything in it. Sometimes you're limited in what you're supposed to be looking at based on warrants.
Yeah.
I don't think that was relevant. She said, it seems weird to me that this is what they did. Maybe that was the fastest way to do it. They didn't give us an explanation. Oh, wait.
Yeah, they didn't know.
They could not do a full file system extraction in 2017, he said. But they did it in October 2017. I don't know. They talk about KnowledgeC database.
Yeah, this is the weird DHS connection I always think about is the Mary Jacobs interview.
Right. Why? Like, why?
Yeah, because she knew somebody at DHS.
Oh, right. Okay, that makes sense. Okay. Yeah. So I wonder if someone knew someone at DHS to do phone extraction. Okay, so KnowledgeC.
Maybe shook them up.
So this guy says they didn't know about KnowledgeC in 2017.
Lies.
That's insane.
Well, maybe he didn't, but I'm sure the head of ICAC did.
Of course they did. And if he didn't know about it, why is he doing the phone extraction?
Yeah, exactly.
They knew it existed, but they weren't able to see it through previous Celebrite versions. So, okay, when he looked at the camera roll app on the phone, the photo of Abby on the bridge was there. It was not in the camera roll. Wait. Oh, okay. So when he looked at the camera roll, the photo of Libby on the bridge was not in the camera roll. And Andrea said, I thought that has the potential to be significant. The alternative explanation is that if she took the photo in Snapchat, which Andrea thinks she did, it was posted to Snapchat. So it's certainly possible if she had taken it in Snapchat, it would save to her camera roll. I believe that the Snapchat photo of Abby was screenshotted by someone else, and that's how they have it. So I'm not really confused too, like that makes sense to me.
Well, the one photo they have has a timer in the top corner. Like it has so many minutes, or it's been posted on the story for 24 hours or something.
Mm-hmm.
I think it was like 7 hours so far.
Mm-hmm. Okay, yeah, that makes sense. So that to me, I mean, makes sense. I don't know that they ever had like the original photo. I think they had a screenshot of the Snapchat photo, but I don't know. So there is metadata associated with the video, including Latin long. Celebrate has the ability to map that information, and he prepared a map of that. The map went into evidence. The coordinates that were produced are nowhere near the bridge. We knew that. Nick objected to Miss OJ asking him to circle it.
Well, yeah, I know why. Because we
Why?
know where it's at. It's fucking weird.
Yeah, it's weird. And so you do think it's weird?
Yes.
Okay, that's helpful.
I don't know if it means anything.
Right.
It could mean nothing. It probably means nothing. Is it weird? Yes, I do feel a tinge of weirdness about that.
Okay. Yeah, that's fair. I think that's a diplomatic way to say it.
Could it be weird to people that don't know? I think so.
Right. Well, I would certainly ask. I imagine there were or would be juror questions about it. So he took when he did his photo capture, he took them in portrait mode, he took them in landscape mode. So there were information at the bottom of the screen that he didn't. Oh my God. I missed
Well,
that last night.
That's another thing is that he said he took screenshots on the phone.
Yeah.
Well,
That's what he
did
means by
use-
took pictures.
Well, even if he didn't take the pictures, like, please, for God's sakes, tell me he didn't take screenshots on the phone.
Oh, like on the actual phone?
Yeah, because you're putting
Data on the phone.
data on the phone.
Yeah.
It's
Right.
not forensically secure.
Right. Yeah, I don't know. Or did he screenshot the data in like the secondary device? Like, I don't know. The computer they were viewing it on? I don't know.
Yeah, exactly. I don't know. But anyways, I have to go. I'll answer
Okay,
some
thank you,
questions in the chat
DB.
if anyone's got ones.
Okay,
We got-
thank you.
People need their bowls, we're lined up around the corner.
I
so-
know. Yeah, it's about lunch. It's lunch rush. So, bye, DB. Everyone, drop a one in the chat for DB. He's the best. Thank you, DB. Thank you, baby girl. I have not been looking at the chat because it's stressing me out. So, I hope everyone's being nice. Just block people, please. I actually beg you. I'm begging everybody. Do not engage with people who are annoying you. Just block them, please. It's a really good way to derail the conversation. Going back and forth with someone, I know it's tempting. I do it too. Just block them. I beg. Let's see. Sorry, y'all. All right. That was very interesting to me. I'm gonna keep going through some of this, and obviously DB is burrito bowling, so yeah, that makes sense. But if you have specific questions for DB and he can answer them, he will. We appreciate it. Some very important stuff. So she just quickly wants, is it true that every time you extract the phone, you lose data? And the witness says, we know that now in 2024, we didn't know that then. And I dispute that as well. They certainly knew that in 2017, it goes to the basic function of how storage works. What happens is anytime you power it on and off, there's a process that happens. A lot of files, deleted files, temporary files, here you go, DB caches, internet caches, things like that are temporary. They're stored in certain places on the phone. It'll stay there until the space is needed, and then it's overwritten. So that's how a lot of these times deleted items can be recovered from a phone through an extraction, because they're in temporary files and caches that have not yet been overwritten. But when you power the phone on and off, it engages in other activities, and you're also doing things like opening apps and stuff. It's overriding data. Holy shit, these guys are incompetent. These guys are so incompetent. I cannot believe the stupidity. Why didn't they give this to somebody who knew what they were doing? Oh my God. And Andrea says that she knew this back in 2011, 2012. Oops. She knew all of this back then when she was first in trials. Jesus Christ. This is true. Hey, psych, catching up. Huh? Carwa said that? Yeah. What a way to fuck up at every goddamn way possible, you dipshits. What a disservice. No wonder Ives bounced. That's from the Wish TV update. Wow. We haven't heard that. I wonder. Wow. How many people in Indiana are convicted based on bullshit evidence? A lot. A lot. Ay, ay, ay. It's very possible that they lost data when they did it. Yep. You wouldn't know. And the jury will never know either. These fucking idiots, dude. If that's the case, that would be unfortunate because that could potentially give us information as to why it went dark. Oh. The power off log for the phone is no longer available. This is a big deal. Oh my God. The power off log, I forgot to mention that, is gone. Gone. That would be helpful to not have lost. Mr. McClelland did the redirect. He focused on the issue with the coordinates. Of course he did, because they need that phone to have never left. When the location system basically first triggered, because the video is started, it hits a general area, and then as time passes, it begins to narrow down to a more specific focused point. That's what Find My iPhone will do. You use it, it'll show a big circle of where the thing could be, but it won't pinpoint the accuracy until later when it hones in more specifically. He seems to be implying that's what happens. It's first getting these, I don't know specifically where it's drawing the information from, honestly, as far as which source, but what it does is it improves its information depending on what it has access to. So it can triangulate through towers, it can pull from satellite, it can pull from other sources of data. That's what helps it get more specific and able to pinpoint as it goes through those processes. In his opinion, the GPS location was not unreasonable to show it generally in Delphi within about a mile range, that for something short that would be expected. Now, short is the question. The video was 30 seconds long. How long does it take to get specific? It depends on what's available. It seems the phone was capable of cell service in the area for at least a period of time. It only lost service at a certain point, and then service was restored. At least intermittently, it should have been able to ping the tower and get that information. Mr. McClelland always does this thing with his questioning where he'll ask a bunch of questions and repeat the answer that he likes. He'll say, so you testified blah, 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 and then he'll repeat it, or the data goes from general to specific after the witness just said. So OJ objected to that and asked and answered, and that was sustained. It was sustained. The judge sustained a defense objection. It is on the record. Miss OJ hinted and redirect that later in 2024, they were able to find actual coordinates. The witness said he didn't know about that because that is the other analyst. It sounds like in 2024, just recently, we're on a 5th analysis of the phone. I don't know if it's an analysis of the physical phone or reanalysis of the old data. A lot of jury questions about the phone. I believe that the defense said in a motion or implied that it was the actual phone, but is this the power off log, DB? The power off log should not get written over that fast. Yeah, that's weird and unfortunate because that would be very informative. Someone on the jury is familiar with cell phones. Was the 2:13 time when latitude and longitude was taken on the video? It was a clarification question because the 2:13 p.m. was confusing with the date being February 13th, 2:13. What info is on the KnowledgeC database? This is another juror question. We got a lot more specific detail about KnowledgeC, health data steps, frequent locations, elevation, power logs, screen going on and off. There's a second-by-second log of activity on the phone. KnowledgeC sounds really important here. So they knew it existed in 2017, but they didn't find out about KnowledgeC. I don't even know what to say, y'all. This is crazy. She meant Indiana here, so I meant to change that. Was the report in October 2017? Oh, this is another jury question. Was the report in 2017 from Indiana State Police or DHS? They clarified that DHS did the extraction. Department of Homeland Security did the physical extraction and gave him the extraction He put it in the physical analyzer with all three that had been done at that point in time and got it to spit out one report based on all of that information. Is KnowledgeC database produced by the Department of Homeland Security? Pretty sure it was produced by Apple. That was confusing. Pretty sure Apple developed it. That's crazy. How do they not know that KnowledgeC existed? USA Libertarian. If you want to help add people to the witness shitness list. Oh, she's crazy. Can the jury move for mistrial? I'm 100% loving the juror questions on the phone. Me too, Mandy. They're so good. There's this implication more analysis was done in 2024, and we do know that they did. And I think that we will hear more about that because that was recent. I know Judge Gull ordered the state to turn over their most recent report by, help me y'all, who's the most recent phone report done by, to turn that over back in like September, or maybe it was July, August. Yeah, I don't want to. I don't want a mistrial. I want an acquittal. Double jeopardy has attached. The jury has been sworn. We want this man acquitted. I want this man acquitted. Cecil Peoples. Cecil. Yeah, Cecil. Thank you, DP. If we can establish what made the phone go dark on February 13th and what made it come back on, was it a power on and off? Was it loss of signal? Sounds like KnowledgeC might hold that information. Uh-oh. Question. This is a jury question. As of February 15th, were you aware of any deleted photos or video? I have to go back and listen to this because I'm not sure if this was like multiple jury questions, but I do believe this is a juror question, so I'm going to add it to our list here. Cecil Peoples is one of the worst MMA judges ever. Oh, well. Okay. I thought that you were making a funny about Cecil, which you were. As of February, oops. Were you aware of any deleted photos? And the answer is no. Okay. And then another question, do Snapchat photos save to a person's phone? These are good questions. These are our jury questions, y'all. He did not know? He'd have to look into it. And Andrea says, why did he not already look into it? Welcome to hell, Andrea. My theory is they purposefully avoid looking into shit. They don't want to clarify anything. Oops. I'll have to look into that. Sir, this is a murder trial. Sir, this is not a practice run. This is the murder trial. There was too many people. Everyone thought the other person was going to look into it. And I think this is exactly what happened with the trail cam footage, too. They just assumed somebody else would get it. And they never did. I can't see. Can you make it a little bigger? Yes, I can. Thank you for telling me that. Yes, I can make it much bigger. I think. Is that better? Okay. Sir, it's been 7 years. Yes. Yeah, weaponized incompetence. Is there anything you do know? This is crazy. The photo was posted. Do you know what the origin of the photo is and the timing of the photo? You know, it was posted on Snapchat. That's the metadata you have for it. But the important piece of information is when it was taken as far as being able to establish the precise location and movement. Why didn't they do that beforehand? Unbelievable. Was the iPad associated with the iCloud account? Pull the location data used in the map. I thought this was a good question. They were kind of getting at, could that be the reason for distorting location? Okay, I think I have that one written down already. It does sound like it was synced up. It's unfortunate that was not pursued at the time. If the iPad had been synced up, if the iPad had been synced up with the iPhone, they would have been able to track the phone location and find it. It does sound like it was synced up, so it's unfortunate that was not pursued. So this is confusing. Yeah, I don't get it. Interpolate the notes, please. Oh my God, this is terrifying. Ross says, I was on the jury for an Indiana jury for an essay case involving a minor. The judge ate a sandwich and fell asleep twice during cross. Okay, unless it was powered off, so then you'd move to how is it powered back on? I would like to thank Ange, DB, All Eyes, Michael, and everyone who's helped gather information, summarize, and provide it to the community. It's huge. Thank you, Hot Packet, for being here and for having the name Hot Pocket. It's reminding me that I need to eat lunch soon. Waiting for, I don't recall, state witness. Yeah, right. None of them can seem to recall anything. It's so interesting. So interesting. Love that for them. If y'all want to read this on your own, this is just a transcript of the live that Andrea did last night. The transcription's not perfect, so don't get too attached to anything. If there's something that doesn't make sense, ask for clarification. Was there software in September or October 2017 that could take the method 3 knowledge export to a readable report? That's a question, technical question. So a juror asked that question, like, oops, paste out for me. He said, no, Celebrite could not parse that database at that point in time. It sounds like they can now. There's a great question. Do you ever document or photograph the lock screens to show notifications before access onto the phone? Did you ever, did you ever, or do you ever? I don't know. I'm not going to change it because maybe I'm wrong. I don't believe I did. I tried to, but I don't think I did in this case. Okay, so they didn't take us. They didn't. Okay. Oh my God. This is crazy. Do you ever document a photograph? No, not in this case. Jeremy Chapman. Indiana State Police. Andrea's got Idaho on her mind. That's okay. Who did the witness list docs? It's hilarious. Which one? Dipshit. Head dipshit. Yeah. These are our witness lists. Psycho landowner, brisk walker, longtime IDOC prisoner, match lord, head dipshit. Yeah. And you take your break yet? You need to eat. I will. I'm gonna take my break once we once they take their break. Hard to keep up. Yeah. So we're still waiting. So they're probably having a really technical testimony right now because Dr. Roland Kaur is on the stand. Court breaks for lunch at 12:45. Okay. Awesome. Let's see if there's any updates. Probably not. Mm-hmm. I haven't seen any updates yet, so. Hey, Sharon, where are you getting this from? So Abby showed no signs of blunt force trauma or any restraint wounds. He said that though the rape kit showed no overt injury patterns, it doesn't mean that an essay did not occur. Right, obviously, yeah. Thank you, Sharon. Update on Wish. Okay, thank you so much. Oh gosh, I'm like so reluctant to go to Wish because they suck. Their shit sucks so bad. They're like the least reliable. But thank you, Sharon. That is helpful. Yeah, Wish is where we got our glitter fiasco. The other day, they said there was glitter found on the crime scene. Okay. Mr. Chapman is the one who did the enhancement of the video. Interesting. The software he uses, the process he used primarily Axon 5 for the video forensics and audio. He uses Adobe Suite for the sound enhancement, using filters to eliminate background noise. So basically what people on YouTube have been doing. What they told us to stop doing because we don't know what we're doing. So he used Adobe Suite and did exactly what the YouTube sound technicians have been doing for 7 years. Interesting. He used, yeah. What do you mean, DB? Oh, Good note said Carver was the strongest witness of Bridge Guy so far. Rick Allen's right there in the courtroom, bitch. Is it him or not? Can't, I mean, I'd like to know. He'd seen the video Bonner recovered from Libby's phone that showed the two girls and a guy walking. This is when we got to see the second time video. You see a tiny little man in the video. Walk through the process. They extract the video, run it through a program. It breaks it down frame by frame. Then you're able to go through and identify and select out individual frames you think are going to be particularly suitable for enhancement. Right. He picked out 3 to enhance and describe the process. He captured, rotated, cropped, resized, changed the levels and sharpness. This is literally what YouTubers have been doing for 7 years. Oops. I need to do that. God. So funny. This is true. Medical examiner always has a giant mustache. I'm not going to show you what Bridge Guy looks like. It's a little different how we do things in Washington. Trying to get reports, law enforcement, police reports into evidence. Yeah, that's insane. Although it sounds like Miss OJ was trying to get in the report too. So, okay. Bottom line, objection didn't get raised. Okay, so they came to some kind of consensus on how much of that report was going to get in, agreed on it. He puts filters on the audio. This is the very end of the video, around the point where the female's saying there's no path here. They played it. Everybody in the audience heard it. Mr. McClellan asked the witness what they believe the man saying. This was an awkward moment for Miss OJ. She objected. It's suggestive. If he gives his opinion before they hear it, it's going to taint their opinion. And she said, well, they already heard it. But that doesn't matter. To me, he still should not have been able to say it. She should have really, I don't know. Interpolation. Yeah, this I think will be important later on because, I don't know. Have they not broken for lunch yet? Is Rosie or Baldwin not there? I think they were. I don't know why. I don't know. I'd be objecting like a motherfucker, but it's about 1 o'clock, y'all. I think what I'm gonna do, I'm gonna make an afternoon stream. All right, y'all. So I'm going to share, I just shared the link for later. I'm going to come back at like 2:15, talk about updates, which we'll probably get shortly. And everyone go eat lunch. Take a walk, do what you got to do. Hopefully we will have some updates. And I'll talk to you in an hour and a bit. Bye.